And we are back with the Joypreneur Summit. Yes. Oh my gosh. Are we having some fun now? We have heard from so many amazing people, haven't we? If you have been here for this morning's interviews, put a little comment in the comment section about some of the takeaways that you've gotten, some of the best ideas you've gotten, some of the good nuggets you've gotten for really just living your life more joyfully, following your feel good, building your business your way. All of the mindset exercises, put in the comment your favorite takeaway that you've had so far today, because we are just getting started. And I just cannot wait to introduce you to Murielle Fellous, who is up next. Oh, it's so good. I cannot wait. Take a look in the description and see where to get the full agenda, because you are going to want to have marked on your calendar which interviews you want to see. And that agenda will tell you not only who's on now, but you will get the next day and the next day. We've got 2 full more days coming up, plus all of the freebies. You get Muriel's freebie, which I'll talk about in just a little while, and all of the freebies from everybody else in the summit, as well as our sponsors. How cool is that? And if you did look in the description, you'll see that there's another link to sign up for the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club, because I know after meeting all these cool people, you just want to come hang out with us, don't you? So I'm going to give you an extra incentive for anyone who signs up right now. I'm going to send this pen, the pen of expectation, in the mail to you. We ship worldwide, and whatever you write with this pen will come true. That is the power of intention. Next up on the Joypreneur Summit, we are going to talk to Murielle Fellous. She is a clinical emotional freedom technique practitioner. Clinical is the key word here. We're talking really high level stuff. She's an emotional coach, but I'm going to tell you my favorite thing about Murielle. Murielle raised 3 kids as a single mom. Now, really take that in for just a minute, what that means. Raising 3 kids as a single mom. And what happened was she spiraled into depression and anxiety and was all on her own, having to figure everything out. She not only healed herself, but she is now on a mission to help all moms who are struggling so that you do not have to struggle alone. She's got so many cool tips and techniques to share with us today. And I just couldn't be more thrilled to have her with us on the show. Welcome, Murielle Fellous, and the crowd goes wild. Yeah, I know, right? I feel like we should have a little dance session somewhere right about in this spot where we should. I'm so glad it's just awesome to have.
I'm super happy to be here. Super, super happy.
I just adore you, Murielle. You know that. Murielle's got a fantastic YouTube channel, by the way, for all of you who are on YouTube. You want to talk about some great tips and tapping sessions and all this good stuff, definitely check it out. So I can't wait to dig in. I think what we should start with is maybe let's talk a little bit about your story. What was the kind of the before and after picture for your life?
So there was several before and after, but I would say the most violent one was when I raised when my kids became teenagers, and 2 of them became very, very acting out in very potentially dangerous ways. And even though I was already training my brain, but I had to go to the next level because I was waking up at night. They were going to parties and trying stuff like party drugs, and I was waking up with palpitations, imagining them dead because they fried their brain. So I had to take a hold of my thoughts and my body to be able to access better thoughts. And that was difficult because when the stress response is active almost 24/7, which was the case for me because I was constantly on alert trying to protect them, they did crazy stuff. Um, One night I woke up and I couldn't breathe. So of course I did tapping since it's what I do with my clients. But I really realized that I was in depression because that day we talked with my daughter, and she said, Mom, she came back from the university and she learned psychology. And she said, you know, on all the boxes about depression, you check almost all of them. And I was like, oh my
Wow.
God.
Wow.
So I spiraled without realizing because I believed my thoughts. And I actually was more active trying to manage a zone that is impossible to manage, which I now call the zone of powerlessness,
Yeah.
which
I,
is trying to
yeah.
keep my kids alive.
I want to hear about that because I know this is a big message you have about the difference between the zone of power and the difference between the zone of powerlessness. And so maybe we can start out like just with the definition of what do you mean by those terms? What's a zone of power? What's a zone of powerlessness? And do them in any order that you think makes sense.
So the zone of powerlessness is where you have no power, like you're trying to control life, things, people, but really it's not, you don't have that power. We are not holding the planets together. We're not making the sun rise. We're not making people be born. It's something else than us that has that power. And if you want, I used to call it, uh, when I see moms who try to do that now, I call it the God complex because we we
Good.
don't have that power. And I really had to look at my fears really like face to face and go
Wow.
deep, 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 deep in my worst fear, which was to lose a child. And I realized that one, I don't control that. Two, if that ever happens, God forbid, I will be given the tools then, because every time I had a crisis in my life, I was given the tools. So I started to give that to a higher power, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, the source, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and say, okay, you maintain me alive. I went through a few life-threatening disease, so you kept me safe. Please keep them safe. And then turn my focus on where is it that I have power? I do not control my kids, but first of all, I can put limits, and there are limits to limits, I would say, but I control my thoughts. And it's not even about controlling, it's being aware of them.
Yeah,
Because negative thoughts will come. They will come. I'm guaranteeing you that. Whatever
for
you're
sure.
doing in life, you will have negative thoughts. But are you holding on to them like that and running, like when it would be like being tied to the galloping horse and desperately hanging on to it? Or are you releasing and say, that's not what I want to do now? That happens to me, I'm like, okay, that's the old story. I literally do that with my hands and that. And I hear in my mind the noise when you, I don't know
Yeah.
the word, crack a, rip on a paper, like, when you crumble a
Yeah.
paper, I don't know, and you
That's
release it, you hear a noise. I hear that and I drop it.
Oh,
And
that's so
yeah,
good. I can see myself immediately using that method. So you're saying you hear a negative thought and you do this and you imagine that sound of like a paper
yes,
crumpling,
yes,
throwing it in the
yes,
garbage.
yes.
I can totally, I'm all
Uh,
over that. I'm so using
the,
that technique immediately. I love it. I have to notice a parallel that you brought up too, this zone of powerlessness. You're really talking about, like, think of how many things we have zero control over. We can't control what people do. We can't control whether the world, how the world is going. We can't control, like you said, the sun coming out the planets. Feel the relief and the release you have when you realize I can't control that anymore. Like, what a gift to give everybody, just to really suddenly go like, that's not my thing. How many people are trying to fix everything around them, Muriel? That's such a good I
and
piece, you know?
it's a relief, and it also removes the guilt because since it's not your job, you don't have to feel guilty about that. If God forbid something doesn't turn the way you want. And and
And
and
can
then
I can I can I add something real quick? Because
yes,
the other thing you said was funny. The parallel I wanted to draw is, not only did you say that your zone of powerlessness, you drop it, but then you said you can do it with your thoughts too. you can release your thoughts. So it's think about the permission that you're giving people to be able to just quit quit hanging on to everything so tight. Just relax and let go, you know?
And we don't find solutions in stress, in a state of stress, because the brain, the cognitive brain doesn't get as much blood because you are on fight and flight and freeze. And it's redirected to your limbs, and a cascade of biochemicals takes place in your body, and you're not creative. So not only can you even you can get in touch with your own wisdom. And in my life, I learned to also leave room for a higher wisdom than me.
Yeah.
And that literally was a game changer. I apply it in my business. I applied it with my kids. Still apply it everywhere. And I called my business co-parenting with the universe, but you can be co-businessing with the universe. Uh, I mean,
That's right.
I and
Co-businessing. I
that
love it.
only happens when you are in a neutral or elevated emotional state, which will bring you into a neutral or elevated vibrational state,
I love it. Yeah.
energy wise. It's like an elevator. So when you push the button and you go higher, then if we talk about the law of attraction or whatever you want to call it, you're going to be matched with what is at that level.
Yeah.
So that's why my first practice was to really focus where I had power and calm down my body.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, I started tapping and say, right here, right now, I don't have any evidence that no one is hurt. Everyone is safe. I don't have any evidence of the opposite. And I would calm myself. And the next step is show me. Show me what's the next step. And I kid you not, every single time something came, either it was a book or I think I shared that story, but I'm going to share it again, where my son, when he was 13, was skipping school, doing all kind of crazy stuff. And someone told me, go find him a good male role model because his father was not. And he suffers from addiction. So I went to Big Sisters, Big Brothers here, not here, I'm not in the US anymore, but I was in the US. And I enrolled him in that program, and they told me, listen, he's 13, nobody wants to volunteer with a kid who's 13. I said, I don't mind, put it in your database. Fast forward 2 years later, he was even acting even more out of control, and I was starting to have problems with the school, and I had a charitable organization who told me, listen, you need to be careful because if you can control him, the court can take control over him. They scared me so much. I was actually at work that day. I took a lunch break. I tapped alone in an office and I said, show me. Where do I need to turn? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to become? What? Show me. And I was working after that. And 2 hours later, I got a phone call from Big Brothers Big Sisters. He was now
Wow.
15. And they told me, we have a match. And
Wow.
this man has the same religious background as we had, knew the same community, was working in the building where I was. And he did the same thing as Shai when he was young. He went crazy and then
Wow.
went back to track and was now a lawyer. And until now, my son is in contact with him until now, and he's now 21.
Wow,
So
you know,
that was,
Muriel, this reminds me so much. You know, those of you that follow Abraham Hicks, they always say, when you ask, it's given, and all of the cooperative components are being gathered. And this reminds me of that. You know, you are praying and tapping, or turning it over to higher power or universe or whatever, and then it's answered. You ask and it's given. Show me is a beautiful step. And I want to come back to what you said earlier. You said a sentence that really struck me that I think relates to this. You said, I was spiraling because I believed my thoughts. And so can you explain what you mean by that, and how you don't believe your thoughts then? What do you do to not believe your thoughts?
I can remember the two thoughts that were the most recurring. The first one was, I don't have what it takes, it's too hard. And the second one was, I'm alone. I'm a single mom in the US, no family, no support. I'm usually the coach in my family. Nobody knows how to bring me up. And I was repeating it that in a loop. And of course, I wanted to disappear. I had suicidal ideation. I never would have done it, but it was there. I was like, take me, just take me. And until I interrupted that pattern. And now, after that, when I was thinking, I'm alone, I'm like, no, I'm not alone. And I remember I have a little notepad and I give that to my clients to do of all the divine or higher power intervention in your life. Because sometimes you forget when you are into a negative spiral, you forget and you look at that and you say, oh my gosh, I did not have to do anything for that to happen. Actually, that happened to me 3 weeks ago. I have a practitioner, we exchange sessions because I'm a coach, but I always need to be coached to maintain yourself, clear
Yeah.
for your clients. And I was telling her it's a little bit difficult just right now, but I know that when I relax, and I saw that at the beginning of the year, the clients were like raining from the sky without me doing even one video, that because I was enjoying my time with my daughters. So I was just tapping and telling her that. And I see a notification popping on my screen as I was tapping and saying, I'm relaxing, I'm more flexible, blah, blah, blah. A client just came back, an existing client, and booked 4 sessions. So I'm like, why do I always forget that?
Yeah,
Why?
it always makes me feel like it's just like magic. Like when you really do open your mind, open yourself, it things shift and stuff comes out of the blue. It feels magical. And I think too, when you were talking about before about lying in bed and tapping, that you had no evidence that your kids were not safe. It was like you were saying, I believed this thought. And most of us that we have when we have fears are just based on nothing. They're really based on nothing. They're just total fiction that we project into the future and we imagine that it's real. And then we have all this stress about this complete fiction. And so then you say, well, you just have to not believe your thoughts because and that's what you did. Like you lived it. You showed us how by just going, I have no evidence. I have no evidence
Yeah.
that this is real. I have no evidence that this thought has any basis in reality. And I want to go back to your little list. I call it the small miracles list, but I know what you're talking about is where you start writing down and making a list of every time something comes out of the blue to help you just when you think you didn't have it. So many good nuggets so far. I want you to also speak to, you have this thing where you call it not giving up but being flexible. What is that all about?
That means, so there are so many aspects to that. Um, Being flexible, so you know what you want, but you don't obsess about it all day long. Otherwise, you're in what one of my mentors used to call the paradoxical intent, because you want it so much that you're pushing it away. There is an energy of desperation. And being flexible means, for example, with our business, we have a certain image of where we want to go. But what if success could look completely different? And what if we could be completely, even more happier with the version that the universe has in store for us? So it's just about not being too attached to the form that it takes, being more attached to the emotion that you want to feel, because that's the driving force. We don't care really about the stuff. We don't care. We care about how we feel.
Truth.
So why not start with focusing on that and being flexible on how can that happen? How can that happen? I know with my business, I have a certain idea of where I want to go. And of course, when you get to a certain level, you want something higher. So it's never ending. But that's great. That's beautiful. Uh, but recently, I was like, okay, I love coaching people, but I also love money. I'm sorry, I also love money. And what if I could make money while I not coaching people, because they are only 24 hours a day. So I started creating people. I received feedback from people that they love my meditations because of the accent and the voice that I'm taking. I put them to sleep. So I started recording mini meditations and put them on sale on my website. I haven't sold any yet, but I remember the feeling probably 10, 15 years ago, the first meditation that I made at the time I was coaching on relationships. I sold it for $7. And I kid you not, I woke up and I saw $7. I made money while I sleep. I was so excited. It's only $7, but just the feeling, that feeling of things
Yeah.
coming to you. And
Yeah.
even it's the feeling, oh my God, I can't, like at the beginning of the year, I was like, I can't stop money from coming and clients from coming. What's happening?
Yeah.
Effortless.
Yeah, the feeling of effortless success and that things are going so well and that you're on a roll and that it feels so good. And it's almost like this feeling of freedom and fun and exhilaration. And I love that. Go for the feeling, not for the outcome. It's so true too. You know what's funny about humans is that we think we know what we want. So we work hard for a goal. And then we get that goal. And once we've got that goal, we see what the problems are with it. And so we don't really want that anymore. So then we think about the next thing, which, like you say, is great. Like we're growing and it's good.
Yeah,
But what's funny is if you just go for the feeling, you're probably could live a life where you're living in the feeling all the time and then just doing whatever
that's,
you want to do, not so much about, oh, I got this thing and I'm never satisfied. You know what I mean?
and in my books, people may think I'm a little bit dramatic, but I always think, what if I died without having achieved my goal? I don't want to waste that time in the middle. I want to be happy already. What if I die tomorrow? I mean, that could happen.
Of course,
So,
absolutely.
and the other thing is, so effortless, yes, but prepared. Prepared. I
Yeah.
sharpen my skills. I constantly learn things. I
Yeah.
constantly work on myself. And not because I have to. First of all, I love learning.
Yeah,
I
me
will
too.
be a life learner. And because the more you remove layers that are blocking you from feeling good, the better it is. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's always going to be on top. Like even with clients, it's waves. No, there are big waves and then you're going to go down. But the time you go down, it's to sharpen your skills and start percolating on maybe more ideas. It's the time when you fix things that you can fix. It's the creative time. It's not the time to be, oh my God, I don't have clients. I don't have clients. You know they're gonna come back. They're gonna come back. It's just I'm an accountant too. I went to school for accounting, so budget so that you have money for the entire year for the low curve of the wave and the high curve of the wave. And
Right.
and just enjoy. Enjoy.
It's so funny to imagine you as an accountant as well as as co-parenting with the universe. That's just a really interesting nugget that you just shared.
I'm a double Capricorn. Double.
Oh, there you
I
go.
can't escape my fate. And I'm starting to learn about astrology. So I'm gonna do stuff with tapping and astrology to help mothers.
Good
But when
idea.
you learn, you know yourself so much better, and you're like, oh, no wonder, no wonder I'm so serious. People always tell me, you're so serious. I had at the beginning when I was putting things on YouTube, I had some people around me telling me, you're too serious, nobody will ever listen to you.
Oh
And so
gosh.
it became a belief. And I was like, and I had to work on that. And I watch serious people. You know who I watch? Deepak Chopra. I'm like, okay, tell me Deepak Chopra is not serious and tell me Deepak Chopra is not successful. Okay,
Exactly.
garbage, garbage.
Garbage. Exactly. You can't believe your own mind sometimes. You know, you get these
Yeah,
thoughts and then you go, there's no evidence of this. There are people who are successful with all kinds of personalities. And the thing that makes you uniquely you is the thing that people want. You know, it's the good. And actually, don't you have now? I'm going off topic here because I know we're wrapping up, but I thought you had some trick for creating content because you create all the best content. I cannot believe how on target your content is with your clients. Do you have some method that you use to come up with ideas? How do you do it?
so first of all, I have my own experience, the experience of my clients.
Yeah.
I look on forums, I look on YouTube groups for the people who are going through what I went through. What kind of questions are they asking? Because English is not my first language. I know you don't know that, people, but I wouldn't necessarily use the same words as a native English speaker would use. And I want the SEO to be like, I want to work with the SEO. So I look at exactly how people phrase their things. And more recently, I asked AI. I'm like, hey, what kind of question would a mom like this and like that and then ask? And I'm like, okay, then I put my own wrap on it, like my personality, what I would do with it, what does it inspire me. But
Smart.
like I said,
Yeah, that's smart because then, and also, you're creating content that will really help people. So it's so good. I love all these shouts out that you're having in the comments too. By the way, everybody, thanks so much. We often want to control. What a relief to let it go. Add breathing to your. Yeah, I love all this to your daily routine. Go for the feeling, not the goal. Thank you for all these comments that are coming in.
thank
Muriel,
you.
for anybody who's just jumping in and really wanting to. Kind of start down that path. Maybe some mom who does feel overwhelmed and is a single mom. Like what nugget, what kind of final parting advice would you give that mom who's just starting today to really kind of start down this journey of living a better life?
So we talk of zone of power and zone of powerlessness. Find them, identify them in your life because you don't want to waste your effort and energy on powerlessness, so on the zone
Yeah,
of powerlessness.
totally.
Second, don't forget the simple tools. It's simple, it doesn't mean it's not powerful.
Yeah.
So breathing, I mean, that alone will calm your nervous system. I do tapping because that way I empty my mind. And remember, you're not alone. You're not alone because there is a higher power. You're not alone because there are exactly other people going through what you're going through. It at the same time, find them. We are at the age of internet. Find them.
Yeah.
And and don't believe your thoughts.
Yeah.
Don't believe your thoughts.
So good.
You're,
It's
you're
so
not
good.
alone and you have what it takes. You do have what it takes. Believe it and
Yes.
then you'll see it.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Oh, Muriel, you are so right. And you're so inspiring. And thank you so much for sharing with us. I love
My
everything.
pleasure.
It was so good. You rock so much. How fun was that? And how inspiring and how good. And, she may be a double Capricorn, but I laughed quite a few times there. So serious or not, that was awesome. And I want to hear your takeaways. Please put your takeaways in the comments. I know you are loving this summit, and I know you loved what Muriel had to say. So do make sure and go get Muriel's freebie. Muriel has put together a peace kit for moms. Wow. Can't you just feel the peace just hearing that? A peace kit for moms. Where do you get it? Look for the link in the description. Go get that peace kit and have more peace in your life. Make it easy. All of this stuff that she said is something you can start implementing and start doing right now, start doing today. By the way, one of Muriel's favorite mantras is everything is falling perfectly into place in my life. Oh, doesn't that just feel good to say that? I love that. Remember, when you get all of these freebies too, you not only get Muriel's freebie, you get everybody on the summit, everybody today, everybody on the future days of the summit, and our sponsors. Guess what? One of our sponsors, Tawanda Morrison, you aren't even going to believe this. She's giving everybody who hears this a free 3-card tarot reading. Go check it out. Make sure to opt in, get Muriel's freebie and find some peace. Get Tawanda's freebie. And remember, when you join us, don't you just want to talk to Muriel some more and say, I've got more questions for Muriel? Well, guess what? She's in the club. We're all hanging out in the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club. You can come there. We hang out. We all interact and share ideas and tips. And she regularly shares stuff in there. And I know that you would love to hear from her. So do join the club. And when you do, you get the pen of expectation. When you write something with it, it will come true. And that comes in the mail, and we ship international. So it's a limited time offer. Join the club today. And I know you would love to have that pen, not to mention have all the interaction with these people. Oh, right. It's so good. So next up, now we're at the top of the hour, 31 minutes. I'm going to be back here and I'm going to be talking to Lisha Espinoza. Wait till you hear her specialty. Are you ready? Drum roll. Releasing anxiety. Oh, yeah. Am I right? I know you're going to want to hear what she has to say. Come and back here in 30 minutes and 30 seconds. I will see you here. The Joypreneur Summit is going strong. Bye, everybody.